period for years because the clash was supposed to be from back in 2020, and with COVID and
Hello, folks. What's going on, Hanif? Tanika, welcome. Wilfred Gold Farm, blessings, welcome. Whoever else is here, Howard, what's going on? Kareen, Arthur, welcome. Welcome, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Um, let's get a few more people in here before we jump into this. Um, Hope everyone's doing well. Everybody, Alric, what's going on? If you're here, identify yourself so we'll give you a shout out. O'Neill, bless up, enough respect. Mr. Henry, what's going on? Good to see familiar faces. Jason, welcome. Um, Anybody that's new to this is iGoat Chat, and we discuss just about anything to do with goats and small ruminants and small farm operation. So that's what we're about. And iGoat Chat is basically a Cabra Ranch production. Um, Myself and Trudy. Trudy is in the background as usual. Hello, Conrad. What's going on? So if you guys see the caption, we're gonna talk about. I want to touch on the importation of animals into Jamaica, small ruminants animals, the goats that came in. I'm really not interested in the conversation to do with what the goats look like, who bring in the goats, all that stuff. I really want to focus on what's going to bring us value, which is the process. Dig into what the process is and how important it is for us to be familiar with the process. I was given a promise that once this is over, animals are out of quarantine, etc., we'll have a representative from that group that will come on and talk about the process. The animals are still in quarantine, so until the animals are released and it's over and the animals are at their new home, then they will feel free to to talk about the process and what went into it. Mr. Marco Peter, what's going on? Welcome, sir. So let me start with um, Evelyn. What's going on? Big up. Let me start with how important it is that this this happened. I think it sets a precedent for us moving forward with importing animals. I've said it amongst my friends. I've said it, in WhatsApp groups that we need to get to a point where we standardize this process and normalize the importation of goats and sheep. I know, there's other animals that come in, they may have a different standard and they're not affected by certain disease like the goats or sheep, mainly scrapie, right? So I fully understand that. However, we're in 2022 and there's processes and scientific tests that can be done that should be able to give us some form of comfort, or let us feel comfortable enough to say we can manage the importation of these animals. Now, the process that's involved is very, very in depth and layers on top of layers. Tonight, I'm not going to get into the different levels of the process. I'd rather save that for when we have somebody that actually went through the process. What I want to talk about tonight is how important, as I said, how important it is for us to recognize the precedence of this, how important it is for this to happen in today's climate with new requirements, new protocols laid out, and a group of farmers got it done, right? A group of farmers got it done. Mind you, CASE is basically a government entity. However, my understanding is the process was handled as if it was private farmers, which most of them were private farmers. So whatever it takes moving forward for us to normalize this, standardize the process, it's important. I would love to see we get to a stage where animals are coming into Jamaica 4 or 5 times a year based on individuals' needs, right? The importance of improving genetics at a faster pace than AI. We all know AI is great. However, with AI, you're still getting just 50% of the new genetic, right? You do AI, you're getting 50% of the semen, 50% of the animal, the local animal that you have. So with uh with an imported with imported animals, you get a pair of imported animals, a buck and a doe, you're getting 100% new genetics, whether it's improved when it comes to meat production or improved when it comes to milk production, whatever your objective is, you're getting 100% of that new genetics, new and improved genetics. So we want to get to the point where it's normal. It's a normal standard procedure. You and I say, oh, we're going to see some animals in the US or Canada that we'd love to get that genetic in Jamaica. For me, focus will be milk. For us here at Cabo Ranch, will be milk production. So we'd love to get some animals that are really great milk producers, high yielding producers. So we want 100%. We can scale the business faster with that. Um, Now, what are the stumbling blocks? The biggest one is biosecurity. And as I mentioned earlier, with new technology, new screening, Dr. Young is correcting me. Anytime Dr. Young correct me, I have to stand corrected. Dr. Young says small correction. Need females, but with semen can get 100% improvement with good females. I stand corrected. That's why we got people like Dr. Young around, you know. So there you go. With semen, you can. Um, so back to my point is biosecurity is the biggest issue. However, we're in 2022. There is scientific screenings that that we think, based on the people I've talked to, if you have the resources and the discipline and the commitment, the screening can be done and you can standardize it and you can be comfortable enough to let animals come into the country, right? Um, we're not at the stage where we have a stock in Jamaica where we can put a pause on it. We are in serious need of new genetics. If we talk about the improvement of milk production, we seriously need high yielding milk producing animals. We need new genetics that's going to give us animals that produce a lot of milk. On the meat side, I'm not so concerned because we have quality boar animals here, and the hybrid, quote unquote, graded animals, the meat to bone ratio is amazing. So the meat side of it, to me, it's a numbers game, and it's a matter of building up your numbers if you're into meat, and having a production system that will sustain your supply. So the meat thing is a long conversation of how we get there, but I don't think it's lack of animals that will produce meat animals is an issue in Jamaica at this point. Now, when we talk about pedigree and registration, breeding stock, if we are gonna supply the rest of the region with quality stock that can, quote unquote, be traced back to South Africa, we have a problem because we haven't done proper record keeping or registration of the animals that were imported 10, 15, 20 years ago. Now, I want to say this, and I may offend some people. However, it needs to be said, right? So, the conversation about animals in Jamaica that are not registered, so you can't really say they're full blood. You can't really give them an official title because there's no real record keeping. Here's what I got to say about that. When these animals came into Jamaica, somebody should have thought about that. How do you keep the integrity of this herd? How do you keep the integrity of these animals? Nobody thought about it. And if they did, they didn't go through with it. When I just got into the goat business and I went on all these Facebook forums, there was a lot of conversation about what is a full blood, what is a purebred. And the consensus among the what I would call the experienced breeders was, in order for it to be full blood, mother need to be full blood, father to need to be full blood, and to be full blood, you have to be registered with an organization that will trace this animal back to South Africa. through its foreparents and genetics, all that, right? Now, nobody registered these animals when they came. So we're in 2022, and that conversation needs to just stop because the animals are not registered. And if you're going to use tracing the animals back to South Africa as the standard to figure out if they're full blood or not, then we have to just accept it that we can't title them as such. I am not saying they're not. Let me put it to you this way, right? I left Jamaica and came to Canada. I have two kids in Canada, two children. I am Jamaican. My passport say my birth certificate say I'm Jamaican. Now, are my kids Jamaican? No, they got Jamaican parentage. In order for them to officially regard themselves as Jamaican, I'm going to have to get them a Jamaican passport, which means they will be registered with the Jamaican authorities as a Jamaican because their parents are Jamaican. So I look at it the same way with these goats. The goats in Jamaica that are full blood by birth, where they come from their parents are full blood, their mother are full blood, come down the line, but they officially can't be regarded as full blood if that's the standard. Their parents wasn't born in Jamaica, or their grandparents, whatever, wasn't born in Jamaica, but they were, right? So I see it as the same thing. You can't really use that as the standard and then turn around and say, oh, well, these animals need to be exempted. No, you can't exempt them unless you go through the process of registering them. You have to go through the process of registering them to confirm that, yes, they are who they are. Just like my kids can say, yes, I'm Jamaican, my father Jamaican, my mother Jamaican, so me a Jamaican. But no, what does it say officially? When you're moving around in this society, what are you officially moving around as? They're moving around as Canadians because the paperwork show that they're Canadians. Their birthplace is Canada. Now, if I go through the process of getting them Jamaican passports, then they can say, yo, I'm Jamaican. Here's the paperwork. It's been proven that I'm Jamaican. So the same goes for these goats. Now, how do we get over that hump? So Mr. Henry's asking. So he's asking, so by registering them, what are they classified as? Because you still can't trace. So from my understanding of speaking with Lynn Tate, you guys remember her, she came on the show. If you do DNA testing and prove that the animal heritage for parents, lineage is, as you say, from a American registered Boer goat, then yeah, the offspring can be registered as such with the information, who's the sire, who's the 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 dam, and you can get the animal registered. Of course, there's a fee that goes with it. I was told when the animals came from Canada to Jamaica, they were given the option of registering the offsprings for 2 years, free of cost, and it never happened. So you do DNA testing and you can get these animals registered. I don't know if it's possible at this point, knowing that it's so far gone. I don't know if it's possible at this point, but there was an opportunity to maintain the integrity of the offsprings, and it never happened. So really and truly, the folks who had the original animals could have done this. It never happened. So we can't go backwards. We can't go backwards now and say, what ifs and all that stuff. So we just got to think moving forward, what do we do? Because since this whole situation, you can see the top breeders start showcasing their animals. People start posting these amazing bucks, these amazing does, and you're looking at them and you're like, yeah, they're nice. Al Archer, Mackie, there's a few more, Dr. Graham. Like you just see these amazing animals, right? And you're like, okay, but there's no paperwork. There is no paperwork. So we have to categorize them differently. Dr. Young saying, sorry again, but this is not rocket science. And the Jamaica Cattle Breeders Association have done it before from the 1950s and have maintained a registry. So keep asking why not ask the cattle breeders to help, and they have a registry every year and appraisal. So there you go. So we're not saying it's impossible. It can be done. And there's different conversations about how they go about it, whether they create a Jamaica standard, or this or that. I really don't care how they get it done. All I care about is let's move forward and get it done. Because you look at these animals and we need to keep the integrity of these animals, the value of these animals. We need to make sure that we show and preserve the value in these animals, because everybody saw what Maki posted. People saw what Al Archer posted. People been seeing what Dr. Graham post. Like, you can't tell me these animals are not quality animals. They are. The only drawback is who are they registered, which organization they're registered with. And because that is the standard by which these animals are judged in the space, you can't go around it. So the conversation about the Jamaican registry been happening for years, and we don't see it. Is it going to happen? I hope it does. And I hope it includes these animals that are there, the foundation of what I was able to get animals from. But all of you guys in here, for the most part, were able to get animals from. We have to figure out a way to preserve them and preserve the value of them. And that thing is telling us right now, the cattle organization, the cattle association has it. They've been doing it. It can't be that much different. Go to them, beg them, work with them, come up with our version of what they have. I don't even know if it needs to change much, to be honest, but we need to. My fear right now is it's not going to happen, and we're just going to move on to imported animals. I don't know much about judging goat and appraising goats and all them things. I just know about procedures and systems. That's what I pride myself in. How do we get it done? I'll leave that to, you know, the professional goat appraisal people and those guys. I'll leave that to them. But I can speak on the process, the procedures, a production system. I can speak on those things. I just needed to get it done because we can't afford to let these goats just become nothing. We can't afford it because they're quality animals. No joke. And the work that these guys put in to maintain what you see Archer showing, what you see Mackie showing, what you see Dr. Graham showing, what you see Dickie Morrison and them people showing. We should see lesser farmers that get animals from the likes of Mackie and Dr. Graham and Al Archer. And there's smaller farmers like myself who has a nice buck that contribute to what we're doing. I'd love to know that there's a value there. I'd love to know that these animals can be appraised and evaluated correctly and raise the overall value of the goat business so we know that, hey, you can't tell us that we don't have quality just because of paperwork, just because. No. Because I can tell you, if we don't, the only animals that's going to be regarded are the animals that came in and the ones that are about to come in. That's going to be a problem. That's going to be a real problem. You know, whether it's Boer or Nubian, it's the same thing. Because Jamaicans are all about Boer and Nubians. In fact, they love the Nubians look so much they breed out the milk trait out of them. When I think that's just wrong. Nubians should be producing milk, and we can't find enough Nubians that produce a good amount of milk. There are people here in Jamaica that can appraise these animals and tell you, okay, yes, they have all the necessary requirements to be regarded as, okay, a Jamaican full blood, if you want to put it that way. Yeah. But I don't want to see these amazing animals downgraded. I don't want to see them downgraded. And if we don't make a concerted effort to create this registry, they're going to be downgraded. There's no other way. There's no two ways about it. There's going to be the guy who has the animal that's imported that's going to say, look, I got the papers. That does the next man have papers? No. So unless Jamaica come up with their standard and a registry, level the playing field, that's what's going to happen. The animals that are here before are down here, and the ones that come in and about to come in are going to be up here because they got papers. Yeah. Yes, Dr. Young, I agree. Start with the appraisal system. You need to start with the top breeders, go there and let people like me feel good to know that goat I get from Mackie, goat I get from Al, goat I get from Dr. Graham is in the system and it's confirmed. They got quality, they got value. Yes. And then we go down the line. It's just do the appraisal. Like there's people here that can do it. It's like it's like for me, sometimes I feel like there's people that's just standing in the way of progress. They're just standing in the way of progress because this register thing has been talked about for years. And if you value the goat business, you would have make sure some of that $50 million go towards securing what we have. Like there is money floating around. I know there's money floating around. They talk about it when the time is right. So the powers that be, the people who are pulling the strings, the people who are making the decisions, should say, look, we need X amount of dollars to deal with this registry because if we don't, we're not going to know where we stand with the quality we have. And we got the likes of Dr. Young, who's at a different table with these in this sector, that will say, yes, we know how it should be done. The cattle breeders do it. They do an appraisal every year. We can shadow them. We can talk to them, copy their system. Somebody put it together for them. Who's that? Who's running it? Who's running their system? Let's talk to them. And mind you, the onus, once a registry starts, the onus should be on a farmer to get his animal registered. Don't expect people to come to show up at your farm and say, yo, I want to register your animal. No. The onus should be on you to get your animal registered. Get your animal appraised, get it in the books. If you think your animal is you want it, what you say it is, then it's on you. That's how it should work. I don't want to stray out from what I'm really trying to get across, but this is really important. You know, really important that we establish this because there's only one of two ways it's gonna go. It Animals that are coming in gonna have paperwork automatically. They're at top of the food chain automatically just by default because this the top breeders in Jamaica have been telling us from a long time that full blood needs to be traced back to South Africa. They need to have registered papers to say yes, they can be traced back to South Africa. Them come through this sire, that dam. They've been telling us that. That's how it works. Everybody accepted that's how it works. Everybody accepted that, oh, Jamaica didn't register theirs. So, we just saying we have, but on a internationally we wouldn't be recognized. Okay, cool. But now the table turned because now there's new imported animals with paperwork. So we have to start this registration process now. We have to do it now because if we don't, the likes of Maki and Dr. Graham and Al Archer and Dickie Morrison and Oral Robinson and all them guys, all that work they put in is going to be for nothing. It's all gonna be for nothing. I'm not into the breeding stock business. Doesn't mean that I can't speak on behalf of these people and the threat that this poses to their business. If this pose a threat to Alarcha, Dr. Graham, Mackie Digger, it poses a threat to me. One for all for one for all, whatever the term is. Not everybody is a breeder. However, everybody needs a breeder. I depend on the breeders to start my farm and to get quality bucks and quality females. I depended on them. So I have to protect them. I can't act like, oh, so well, too bad for them. No, I have to look out for them. I have to speak. If I'm going to use this platform to move the needle in a positive way, I have to speak on their behalf where I see fit. And I think the registry need to start like now. Like we can't wait any longer. Especially back to the original conversation. If we normalize and standardize this process of importing animals, and without hesitation, I can tell you that the new players that are coming into goat business, they got some money to spend. So they can, new farmers can pool their resources and say, yeah, I'm just going to bring in 25 animals, 50 animals, and we split it. And then a whole different thing, a whole different level is up there. So I'm saying, so Jamaica have to have their own standard that you don't discount the works that these foundation farmers put in. The work I see Maki put in, I'm close to Maki as a friend. So I see what Maki put in. I see the work Maki put in. I see the investment. And Maki never imported an animal. All of those animals came through other original breeders. I think Maki's quality deserve to be preserved, deserve real value in the ecosystem of the goat sector. So yeah, we have to put some pressure somewhere. So yo, let's get this started. Let's get this going before an influx of imported animals come and all that work is for nothing. Now, mind you, you know what I mean? There is a conversation that, yeah, they come in, but then after 3 years, we're back to the same thing, whatever. However, I have a strong feeling it's not going to be like that this time. I have a strong feeling that these new animals that are coming in, especially if we standardize the process and new farmers are bringing in their animals privately and all that stuff, they're going to keep the integrity of their herd. They're going to find a way to register their herd, whether it's an American organization or a Canadian organization or somewhere. Because I tell you, if I'm doing it, I'm making sure that my offsprings from these animals are registered just to keep the integrity of my herd. It's good to see Mr. Mackie Bartley here. I haven't seen him in a long time. But Mackie's concern is that means I can't go to Denby show this year then. I don't know, Mackie. I don't even know if there's a Denby show. I didn't get no confirmation. However, I don't see why you couldn't go. They're judging goats. They're not judging birth certificates. Dr. Young, I would love for you to explain it. So I guess I need to send you a link so you can come on. If you want to come on now, I'll send you a link to come on. All right, so give me a minute. I'm gonna send Dr. Young a link so she can come on. One sec, Doc. Let me send. I gotta email it or text it. So give me a second to get it to my phone. 1 second, folks. I'm just trying to get this link to Dr. Young. Jeez, this is not working. One second. Looks like I'm gonna have to. Where's my producer? She's not here. All right, that thing. It's coming right now. Dr. Young, click on that link. See if you can get in. Did the link work? Doc, does the link work? Tell me if it work or not, because I can't get it to my phone. Well, if Mr. Magnificent can link and get in, then Dr. Young should be able to come in. Mr. Magnificent, that was meant for Dr. Young. Clevan, yeah, we're in the middle of discussing importing animals, the effects of importing animals. That's what we're doing. So, and let's see if Dr. Young gets the link. Mr. Magnificent, I don't even see a camera for you. So, if you want to join this conversation, I have something to say. I'm gonna have to put you on camera. I don't see a camera. Um, so yeah, basically, my position is get the registry started ASAP so we can get these animals registered that are here. Um, I don't know. I got Mr. Magnificent here that'll click on the link. I guess he has something to say. I'm gonna put him on until Dr. Young get here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Ray. Evening and evening to everyone.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's your
yeah.
real name?
It's Winston. Winston Cross.
Winston Cross. And where you located?
But I'm in Kingston. My farm is in St. Elizabeth.
Okay. And
Yeah.
your farm is it a mostly graded animals or you got a mixture
Well,
like
uh,
myself?
it- well, at the moment, it's predominantly local. We are starting over because we have been victim of the I like to call them the 2 foot insects
Yeah,
that is
pretty
plaguing
largely.
our system. Yep,
Yeah.
there you go. Yep.
Okay. So
So,
what is your input?
all right, for me, Ray, and to everyone, the thing is, I believe that we do have uh, good stock here. As you know, when Jamaicans do anything, they go for the best, and that is without question. And as far as I see, based on posts on both Instagram, Facebook, social media in general, we have it here, full blood, pure blood. I am more concerned with the registration of the new stock that has arrived, despite the circumstances that they have been here. And well, you know what took place. We all know what took place where that is concerned. I think the registration should start here and with every farmer, big or small, as you said earlier, is encouraged to register their animals. Once the registration is taken place, then the process which is put in with the input from farmers, both big and small, as to say, hey, this is what needs to be done. So if somebody's coming in or somebody needs to register their farm, the process must be adhered to. If you can't adhere to it, it simply means that you can't be a part of it. And it is just as simple as that. As you said, we can use the model that the cattle farmers use, tweak it, as they say, to our benefit and move on. Because, Ray, let me tell you, how I see it, as I said in the chat, 50 years down the line, we might be sitting here debating the same thing. Do we have full blood? Do we have purebred? And it will be an ongoing cycle because when a farmer has his animal and in his view it's a pure blood, it's a graded, whatever he sees his animal as, you can't take that from him. And that is the reality we have to face with, right?
Yep.
You can't discourage because if a man, as you know, a saying goes, a man house is his castle. Now, if him have a 1 bedroom, that is his castle. I suppose if him have a 10 bedroom, because his animal, him put in him work, him a make him way forward, him a do what he needs to be done, then the best thing for us to do to get this thing going is have the registry, persons participate, add it to the rules, and we move on. Because believe you me, Ray, 50 years down the line, we might be sitting here with the same debate going over and over, and nothing is done.
I agree. I totally agree. I think this is the point where they have to do something. And enough
Yes,
of the
and enough,
talking,
yes, enough for the
have
talk.
to do
Get
something.
the action going. And
You know,
as you said, and I agree with you, look at what they ask the cattle farmers for their input, see what they have done with theirs, and we tweak it to fit our industry, our
yeah.
organization, and
And
move on.
it can't be that far off.
Uh, It
It's
can't
a
be.
system that Jamaicans are using. So obviously, whatever it's being used there, it's Jamaicans that are using it. So we can relate to it. We understand. We should be able to
Exactly.
understand it.
Exactly.
And it's like your next door neighbor using a system that you're next door. You're like, yo, how that work? Okay, they'd explain it to you,
Exactly.
and we get
And
it done.
you can modify it to fit your need because what works for one person there don't necessarily going to work for you and it not going to necessarily work for 10 others.
All right, boss. Thanks for your input. I got Dr. Young here, so I'll bring
Yeah,
her in.
man. All right,
Respect.
good.
Thanks. Yeah. Doc, where is she?
Trying to figure out how this thing works. I don't know. It was wrong like they said. So
No, well, you're good. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for always being a part of our little platform here and always bringing the facts to us. And I appreciate you correcting me all the time. So let's talk about how the cattle association do their appraisals, their registration. How does it work, and
okay,
how close you think it is to goat operation?
okay, let me see. First of all, right,
Hmm.
um, how they do it, it's something that was developed many years ago, and I was lucky enough to actually be able to the sessions and they invited me. Um, Hello, you still
Wow.
hearing me? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we
So
hear
this
you.
is
Yeah,
this happened maybe about 10 years ago or something like that. So what they did is that from the 50s, right? You had the
yeah,
TP lefties and those guys. So I had a lot of history in it and I delved into the history. So these gentlemen, TP Lecky, Carl Wellington, and of course a host of others like from Fred M. Jones Estate and stuff like that, right? They
yeah.
these developed the cattle breeds and they developed their own standard, right? Of
Hmm.
course, mimicking standards that were available, let's say for the Angus, the black Angus, the red Angus, the Brahmans that were already there. So
Hmm.
if they said, and I could put it simply because everybody knows about dogs, right? A German Shepherd dog has, or we could put it in quotes, everybody knows what a boar goat looks like. But
Yeah,
I mean, it
yeah.
gets mottled and stuff now.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's stick with dogs for now. It's simpler because I don't want to get in any politics. A German Shepherd dog has upright ears, certain coloration, certain facial features. It cannot look like a Shih Tzu,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So
That's correct.
that's just what we have to develop, and we don't even have to develop it because it's already been done. The standards are there from South Africa. Let's say for the Boers, the standards are there for the American Boer Society.
Yeah.
We can pick and choose what we want, right? If we want to include only traditionals or if we want to include colors, that's our choice. It doesn't,
Yeah.
it's not rocket science. So the cattle breeders decided that a red pole must have, a red coloration. They say things like if there's a white tip on the face or anywhere on the body or on the tail, it is discarded. It doesn't matter. It can be used for commercial herd, but it will not be registered, right? So
Okay.
when you go to the appraisals, there's a group of persons that are chosen as the appraisal panel, and it's normally about 6 of them, and the
Yeah.
6 of them will travel. I think you have to have a quorum of a certain number, but I believe all 6 must be there. There may
Okay.
be an exception.
Mm-hmm.
So the 6 of them go, they travel to the farm. The farm must be set up, and they have their table, and they sit down there, everybody with their independent sheet. The animal has an ID, the animal comes up for parade. You say you have to provide the information before as to who the animal is, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if it's animal number 32, it comes up. There's animal number 32. He's the sire of Let's Get Ready. His mother is number 56. How does he look? What's his age? So what they do too is they've decided that an animal under 2 years, because remember, cattle mature at 2
Yeah.
years plus.
Yeah.
So I think under a year cannot be registered.
Registered. Okay.
It can
Because it's
be
gonna
brought up
change.
for appraisal. It's either a year or 2 years. I can't remember
Mm-hmm.
exactly. It's brought up for appraisal, and you can look on it and they say, "Oh, very nice, whatever, whatever." But it cannot be registered until it's 2 years or a year till it shows its
Mm-hmm.
full characteristics,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So once it's registered, it goes into the herd books, right? So there's also a class called deferred. So again, if an animal comes up at a 1 year old, and the ones that are excellent, nobody ever has an argument over. So it's the ones that are borderline now, you
Yeah.
might say, they put in the deferred category.
So
And
they come
deferred
back
means
and
that
check again.
the next appraisal, it will be
Mm-hmm.
decided and it stays where it goes. And
Yeah.
they don't compromise. And we have to be very cognizant of that, in that it's a good thing, because guess what? That's why Jamaican cattle are considered so highly prized. Look at the red
Yep.
pole. I mean, semen is
And
sold all over the world.
for everybody who in here doesn't know, Jamaica, those animals that Jamaica praise and this is internationally recognized.
Recognized, correct. So the standard has to be
Internationally.
high. It's not about who's my friend or
Yeah.
anything. And I've seen some of them. I've seen them, and they're very critical. And like I said to you, simple things like if there's a white spot on the animal,
Yeah.
it's out, right? They don't care. It's just not
Mm-hmm.
accepted, right? But of course, the coloration is one thing, but
Yeah.
the more important thing is, how does the animal look? How does it
Yeah.
move? Does it have nice legs? Has a nice top line? All of
Yeah.
these things. So
Mm-hmm.
there's standards that you look at, and I don't see this as a big deal. It's not a big deal. The cattle breeders have been doing it for decades now. Let's just follow the model. And I think from the discussions we've had in meetings, that's what's going to roll out. The same exact model, that we go to a farm. When I say we, whoever is
Yeah,
chosen,
whoever is the
right? The
appraisal
team,
team.
the
Yeah.
appraisal team goes
Mm-hmm.
to the farm. Everybody stands up there with their sheet and says, and a discussion can happen, right? They can say, okay, well, I like this one's, let's say if it's a male, or because somebody may miss something. They say, oh, his testicles aren't right. Oh, shucks, now we look at his testicles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like how his top line looks. I don't like his coloration. I don't like his or her body mass. All of these
Yeah.
things are stuff that they talk about. And then everybody puts the jottings down. After that is done now, there's a meeting with the 6 appraisers after, and they go through the notes and they vote on yes or no,
Yes or no.
right? And it's very independent. And honest to God, I see some comments about, we need independent people. Jamaica has enough, or the Caribbean has enough independent people, right?
Yeah, we
I don't
have
think
like
we need to import somebody to do that for us.
I
We
agree.
keep delegating ourselves like we're backwards, and we're not,
No, I
right?
agree because if we can go to the likes of all these people in the goat business for technical information and for the history of how Jamaica goat business or small ruminants thing developed, why can't we have those same people appraise the animals?
And we have enough people. And you know what? There's a lot of politics of always, but you know what? I think people need to understand. I think we all love animals, and a lot of these guys, you have people like Patrick Roxborough, you have Albert Ferron, you have Ken King, you
Hmm.
have, those are the older guys. Well, there was Mr. Vermont and stuff,
Hmm.
right? But those guys, whether you like them or not, their personality, I can say to you that they will do the right things.
The
And
knowledge
their
is
love of
there.
animals,
Hmm.
exactly, their love of animals will guide all of that.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think we have a fair. And I mean, when you have 6 people, you're telling me if I go to Mr. Bartley's farm, you're gonna tell me that 6 people don't like Mr. Bartley?
Yeah.
I don't think so. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? We're bigger than that. I think we need to
Yeah,
big
we
ourselves up that we're bigger
I
than
have
that.
faith that we're bigger than that, and we just need to make the decision to move this forward. I don't know what the holdup is. I don't know if it's funding or people don't think it's as important as everything else. But right
But I
now,
dare say, why is I keep asking, why are we waiting? If we want, even in the association, we had started it maybe 3, 4 years ago, where we did the first appraisal at Bodles, right? And
mhm,
there was quite a few of us, and we went through a mock-up of this, where we said, okay, they brought in the animals, we had the ring as we always do, and they brought in the animals one by one, and we went through that. This is what we'll be looking for. This is what, for a boar goat, this is what we'll be looking for. I like this girl, I don't like this girl, why I like her, why I don't like her. And we went through all of that. So, I mean, it's something that I guess even as an association of farmers, if we want as a group to get together and do it. Why don't we do it even for ourselves? We travel to different farms. Why don't we set some dates and we say, okay, let's go to this person's farm and let's critically appraise their animal. And people need to not get their underwear in a bunch or upset if somebody doesn't like their animal.
yeah, if
Right?
a
We have to
collective
be bigger
says,
than that.
yeah, if a
Yeah.
collective said, yo, the animal has a fault and we can't as a group say, yo, that animal is, it meets the standards, then people shouldn't get upset. You
No,
know,
people need to be bigger than that and say,
yeah, you
okay,
gotta be bigger
and
than
this
that.
is what I need to improve on.
Yeah.
Right?
Hmm.
I
Well,
mean,
so
I think I'm the worst critic of my own animals because I don't like none of them.
hey, trust me, I like two animals on my farm. I like a red female that's always never been sick and she give me good kids. And then I like that buck I got from Mackie. That's it. Everybody else to me is disposable. But we all have that, right? But what you think is holding this back?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that. I don't know that. Um, I don't think anything should hold it back. I do think it's in the stage of the funding, like you said, trying to allocate funds and get a quotation and all of that. That's what I do know, but I don't know what else is holding it back. But I'm just saying, why not as a group of farmers if we're all interested? And you see, that's it. Maybe you can have it should be though that the same persons who, when we start, if a registry starts and when it starts, it has to be the same persons though.
Yeah.
It has to be the same persons for
Hmm.
transparency and for it to be not biased, right?
Yeah.
You want the same eyes looking at the same animals from different spots, right? So again, whoever decides or is nominated for these committees, they have to understand it's going to be a significant amount of their time that they're given to these things, right? It can't be that I can't make it to the. I think they do have 1 or 2 people who can take a place. So the
Yeah.
committee is normally 6, but they might have 8 appraisers. And then what they did to the cattle breeders is they always have junior appraisers with them too. People
People are
learning the trade as they go along. Yeah.
trained.
So I mean, it's really really simple. They've developed this and they've maintained it over the years. It's really, they have their catalogs, and you come and they tell you what the animal is doing and who it is and who's the sire and who's the dam, and that's it. And if they don't like your animal, they just don't like your animal,
Yeah, I see.
right?
Sir Natty from Chelsea Best Farm said he would donate to get this started. I'm sure a lot of farmers feel that way.
I don't even know if we need to donate. I mean, we could just come on a day and select, choose a farm
Yeah,
and select.
but to maintain the database, we're gonna need
Oh,
resources
yeah,
to
yeah.
maintain the database, and the farmers are willing to contribute to something that important. You know what I mean? Oh, welcome, Terrence. How are you, sir? Terrence has to say big talk, that big woman, big man thing. And that's the point. If you think the import of the animal is a big thing, you wait until assessment of the animal start. You think you hear conspiracy yet. I'm not into that, but all I'm saying is I know, and it's common sense for everybody that's here that knows that once these animals get home to their new home, there is automatically two different standards of animal in Jamaica.
No, I disagree.
On
I'm
paper,
sorry. I don't. I
no, I'm
don't
not
think
talking
there
about
should be two
looks.
different standards. A
I'm not talking
standard,
about
as I
looks.
said, with a
Yeah.
German Shepherd looks
Mhm.
like a German Shepherd. It can't look like a Shih Tzu.
Okay, but here's what I'm saying. If you want a German Shepherd with papers, the money is different from buying a German Shepherd from a guy without papers. That's why I'm saying automatically the levels change.
Okay, but the animal that comes with papers now, right? You see, we've never established a registry for goats or sheep, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So you have to start from the beginning. Agreed. But like I said, where do you think all the other associations started? They started from the beginning, just like that. There's a formula. It's not something somebody can make up. They've started from years ago. The Boer goat started the same way. They went and they appraised, and this is what we want. And okay, we'll register Ray's farm, 2 animals. Mr. Bartley's farm, 4 animals. Dr. Graham, 6 animals. TJ's farm, 10 animals. And that's how it starts. Why does
Yes.
it have to be? Why does it have to be whether now different? I'm
It
just
shouldn't be.
asking. If it
It
looks
shouldn't.
like a boar, it smells like a boar, it walks like a boar goat, and there's some semblance, and again, everybody should agree, then why can't it have the same standards and start with that? Again, now, let me just mention too. If an animal is registered even in the cattle herd books,
Hmm.
and the offspring do not, and they throw some weird looking offspring, like different colorations or something, that animal can be removed. That's another thing too, I
Oh,
think. Yeah.
the
Right?
parent can be removed or the offspring?
I That's a good question. I need to check. I know the offspring will not be registered, right? Because if it
Okay.
doesn't look like a red pole, it's not a red pole, correct?
Hmm.
I have
Hmm.
to check. I know the offspring will not even be considered, but I'll
Considered.
check and see. I do think the parent
Can be
can be
removed
removed.
if the
I'll
parent
check.
doesn't
Let me
throw
not let me not say that.
the
I'll check.
standard.
Hmm.
Well, it would make sense if the parent can't throw the standard, then the parent is
Like a
allowed.
Saanen goat must look like a Saanen goat. A Saanen goat can't be black
Yeah,
or
I
can't
agree.
have floppy ears. It
Hmm.
doesn't, right? So if it looks like if it is, it is.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you know the animals that comes in, they still need to be appraised at our standard. The playing field needs to be leveled. It needs to be
Well,
leveled for everybody to be playing on the same level playing field. We can't have the work that these guys put in before maintaining these quality animals, and then it gets downgraded because of a piece of paper that comes from foreign.
well, I don't know actually. I don't know if the the paperwork in the US is the same as here though, in the sense
No,
of is there appraisals? I don't think so.
yeah,
I
it's
can
not.
speak
Well,
with
I'm saying
Sam.
when the discussion happens in these forums about full blood Boer goats or full blood purebred Nubians or whatever, it's like the paperwork is always front and center. The registration that shows the lineage of the animal is always front and center. That has been the bar that was set and discussed all the time. Jamaicans say, yo, we have these animals, but the conversation is always that we can't go international and compete with anything because we don't have those papers.
Correct. When we exported animals in 2017, they asked for the papers,
Yeah. See, that's
and
what
we
I'm
said we
saying.
didn't have.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So that means to me, common sense tells me animals that come here with paper and maintain that paper gets an advantage over even a better quality animal that's already here but don't have the paper.
Nah, well, I don't know.
It does
That's the
because
committee. That's up to the
if
committee.
you're a breeder and say you're gonna, like you said, export animals and you maintain the paperwork for your herd and say, okay, you're gonna send 10 animals to St. Vincent or wherever, and them say, where's the paperwork? Here's the paperwork. And then they're getting 10 animals from Mackie. Mackie and them look amazing. And they say, Mackie, where's your paper? I don't have that.
Well, I think we have to accept that paperwork does tell you something, Dory. It tells you who's the mommy, who is the daddy, who's the grandparents, those kind of things. So there is some validity in paperwork, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do know some of the farmers who exported the animals to St. Vincent. They weren't okay. They couldn't provide official paperwork, like something stamped with the association's stamp, but they
Mm-hmm.
were able to provide lineages.
Yeah.
Okay, they
Mm-hmm.
were able to provide lineages, and the people were quite comfortable with that. Okay, so paperwork has its validity because it says it's supposed to be what it is,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We can also reach the next level eventually of DNA testing, which I think is a really good idea too.
I think
But
that's the way for. I think that's the only way to make sure that you
but we can't do that
still.
now yet.
It's too
We
late
still
now.
can't do that yet because to do DNA, you have to match something to something,
Okay.
right? So unless you have a database of all the males ever, okay, for instance, all right, Ray, put it back to human beings. If I was to send for DNA for your children, if you're not in the DNA base,
It has
that's
nothing
why
to
when
like.
they check parentage, even in humans, they take the father and mother's DNA
Mm-hmm.
sample and they take the offspring sample, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to match something to something.
Okay.
So we haven't, and I did a little bit of checking on this also. We don't reach a stage of DNA yet until we start. I mean, the imported animals would, I'm sure, I would hope.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't reach a stage of DNA yet because who would I send? Even if I sent a sample away, because I checked with Sam and other people, who am I checking it, referencing it towards? Which
Yeah.
male or which female am I referencing it to?
But wouldn't they have let's for them the eggshells or whatever X
No.
files? They don't
So
have
again,
DNA
maybe Sam
sample.
is a good person to talk to, but I did speak to Sam about it, and Sam says that, and I did speak to the Dairy Goat Association people, and they said that you, as a farmer, you opt to test your animal.
Mm.
Not all registered animals are tested. You
Okay.
follow?
Yeah.
Right. So when you see the animal advertised as DNA tested to prove that it is who it is, that's why they attract a higher price too,
Yes.
because it tells you, hey, this is really who it says it is.
Okay. So then take the DNA thing out of it. We just have to establish our own standard and definitely build it up and just have quality animals.
And then we can do DNA, Ray.
Yeah.
Again,
Then you
let's
can
say,
start. Then you can start a DNA
yes, correct,
database
correct.
from
So
that.
then
Yeah.
Barty would have his males, we send up the
Mhm.
blood sample for his.
Yeah.
Patrick Graham, whoever the breeders are, they have their samples, they send it up. We now have a database of this male, and then we can say, okay, now when we want to check the offspring,
Hmm.
we send. And you say, okay, this actually came from Dr. Graham and Mr. Archer's female. You understand what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
hope.
Well, I'm hoping that we could go that route because that would be really helpful. That would be
Yes.
really helpful because then, let's say Mikey has a Denby champion buck.
Mhm.
We can have data collect on DNA data on that animal, and we can forever trace animals back to that buck, which is them the
Correct,
champion.
correct. But again, I'm just emphasizing we need to get out of the politics and realize that, again, I don't think that there are many people in Jamaica or the Caribbean that can facilitate this.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's going to like everybody. That's just a given. But we have to realize that I think we're bigger than this. And again, I would say stop getting your panties in a bunch. I should say underwear because it's mostly males, right? Stop getting your underwear in a bunch, right? And accept that if they like your animal, now when everybody likes your animal, everybody's yeah. When they don't like it too, you have to say yeah. I can
You
improve
know,
on this.
see, Mikey is saying similar. I'm saying like, yo, let's go. I will do whatever to help this move forward because I see the importance of it. Hence why I'm having this conversation on iGoat chat tonight. I see the risk. I see the risk that is coming, and I think now more than ever, the registry needs to happen. It needs to happen because Jamaicans, it's just like that. It's just the way Jamaica work for some reason. We're just gonna move on and talk about imported animals because we fight to standardize the system. Now everybody can do it, but there's quality that's sitting there that's gonna get discarded.
I do know that a meeting was held with a group of persons who would potentially be to set the standards, right? And
Hmm.
again, it's not. I wasn't there, so but I was. Somebody called me and told me, and I just know that it was persons like I said who have been around a long time, and Mr. Ferron is one of them, and I think his integrity is impeccable
Oh yeah,
and he's all for
Mr.
that.
Fern
He's
is
all
up there in
for
my
everything.
books.
Nothing is gonna slip by him too much. Again, not everybody is gonna like who set the standard, but let's get move past that now and not into the personalities,
Yeah. So
right?
Darren is saying he has knowledge that 15 million was allocated for a registry. I don't know where you get that info, Darren. So you may want to share where that was disclosed, or if there's a news press release that was given on that, or there was a particular presser that somebody mentioned that. You may want to give us your source because
I
we don't like to
okay, let's
circulate
clarify something.
that information.
Allocation of money doesn't mean they have access to the money. It's government money,
Hmm.
right? So let me just say that, and let me just say this. I'm on some of the committees. Government money takes forever to
Yeah,
process.
yeah,
We
I
have to
know that.
understand, common sense should tell us it's taxpayers' money. It's a lot of money we're talking about, and people have to dot their I's and cross their T's. And I, for one, do not want to go in front of no committee so for nobody to ask me where the money gone. So if it's not above board, I'm not
Hmm.
in it up. I'm just telling you from now, right?
Yeah,
So
but
the money may be allocated, but it has to go through a process of procurement. No, first it has to go through a process of bids, and you have to get
mhm.
3 competing bids. Then it has to go through the process of procurement. And in the government system, I'm not exaggerating. It could take 6 months to a year.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay,
true. It's true.
it takes that long. I
But
mean, when I did
we
the
have to get
FAO
the ball
project,
rolling.
it took us 2 years, 2 years to procure the animals using European Union funds because of the whole process and the accountability.
Yeah, we have to get the ball rolling though. We have to start the process because if we don't start the process, then as you say, it may take 2 years. But if we start today, then we're looking at 2024 that we can get the funding, or we can, you know, farmers like Maki and myself or whoever else to say, okay, we will start contributing to develop this database.
And like I say, maybe if there's a next meeting,
Yeah.
maybe that's what we need to do again. Let's do a mock appraisal system so more farmers can see how it's done. But again, I've told a million people over, If you want, one or two of you all can come to, I'm sure, the cattle breeders and see how it's done. And
I
let me
would
just say,
love,
they,
I would
they
love to
are
know
model.
the next time they're
Mhm.
doing it, and if I could get an invitation and just be somebody stand there, just stand there and watch and see what they do to get a better understanding of it works.
It's really lovely to see. It's lovely to see the professionalism. It's lovely to see the camaraderie
Yeah,
and how they just, and it's big people. We're not gonna get upset and throw our tantrums or because we don't like this and all the rest of it. It is what it is.
yeah. Like Dr. Young, serious people trying to get into your business. Mr. Henry wants an update on your AI babies. So since you're on, you might
My
as well
AI
tell us how
babies.
successful your
Okay, well,
AI
my
babies.
AI babies are doing fine. We have lots of babies hitting the ground. Which AI babies specifically are you talking about? I don't know. Is it the private ones you're talking, the government ones?
Yes. Well, your private ones, I guess, because you can't talk
Hold
on
on,
other
my son
people
is
thing.
calling. One moment. My son
Okay.
is calling and he's at a swim
Yeah.
meet. So I have to
All right. No
hold on
problem.
one
Doc.
moment. I have to take this one.
What you talking about, Mr. Henry? Don't you see Jody post the success rate he's having from his AI program? Like, um, let me take Dr. Young off so in case you don't say anything. Um, don't you see the success rate? Well, everybody's matching Maki. I'll match Maki also. I'll match that. I will definitely match that because that's really important. And guys, you got to remember, I'm going to bat for this. I'm not a breeder, but I value the breeders. I value them. I'm forever grateful to TJ for giving me a good, solid um, foundation of females. Forever grateful to Maki for guiding me on giving me a really good buck from him farm, two really good bucks. So I have to protect that. You know what I mean? I can't burn the bridge behind me. Like there's gonna be other farmers that wants to come in and be able to get quality animal from the likes of Maki. And I think my light just went out. And these bulbs don't work nothing. And it would be nice. It would be definitely be nice to know that I can do something to preserve that for people behind me, people that are coming after me. It would be nice. I definitely want to do that. So if you guys feel like it's something you want to partake in, then speak up. I mean, Dr. Young already laid out that it's be easy. Well, I wouldn't use the word easy, but access to a similar program and system is there. The access is there. The Cattle Association is doing it, and for the people who are late to this, the original conversation is on the fact that new animals coming in, the bar is gonna move on when it comes to value on the animals. You're gonna have the new animals that with papers directly from the US, and then you're gonna have the quality animals that the likes of Maki has. And all of a sudden, the conversation is gonna be about, oh, Maki proves that your animals is full blood. Because remember, they used to tell us for the animal to be regarded as true full blood, gotta show paperwork. Now we all know once upon a time there was no paperwork. No, there is paperwork. You know what I mean? So it's gonna change. The standard is gonna change whether we like it or not. So if we don't come up with a standard to level the playing field, then these gentlemen that put in the hard work is gonna they're gonna their thing's gonna be downgraded. And I don't wanna see that. I definitely don't wanna see that. So if anything you can do, speak up logically. No, you know what I mean? No no politics thing, no animosity thing, just for the betterment of the sector, just for the ability for the people that comes in after us. Just those people, just to give those people an opportunity to come in. That's what I'm talking about. Because the imported animals really it's a drop in a bucket. As much I want to standardize the system, so it's a regular process that even the likes of Maki can, do his thing. The other breeders can do his thing. But still, Maki have some amazing animals, Striker, what I mean, all those amazing bucks that he has there. Like we need to preserve the value of those animals. We need to. Even if we call it the Jamaican standard, we need to preserve it. We need to create value for it and don't downgrade it. Um, what else? Any other question? Dr. Young is coming back to give you guys an update on the AI program. Welcome
Yeah,
back, Doc. So yeah,
yeah. So
so
my
I
son
have
is swimming, so
okay,
is dad
no
gonna pick
problem.
him?
I have a couple questions about the AI. Um, the
Which one?
success, your program, what you were doing, not the private one, the Nutrimix, the Nutrimix.
But Nutrimix is the private one.
Yes. Okay. No, not the
Okay.
government program. I'm talking about the Nutrimix program that you've been doing for the last couple of years.
Oh,
Have
okay.
you have you been seeing improved success,
You mean improve success in the animals or improve success in conception rate?
conception rate?
It has always been up and down, right?
Mm-hmm.
We find honestly at the better farms we get, when I say better, I don't mean pretty. We're talking about better managed
Yeah.
farms.
Mm-hmm.
We get better success rates. We have had 80, 90% success rate at some farms,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've had zero at a few farms, right?
Yeah.
The average is we're averaging closer to 60% now, 50 to 60%. The average has always been about 50, but
Yeah.
it's been picking up a little bit. As we go along, we've been mapping the data,
Mm-hmm.
and we do know we get better conception during the breeding season, of course, which is anywhere from October to April, May. So we've kind of reached the stage. Tends to be the breeding season for goats. So we kind of wondering now and again, it has to do with heat. If we should really stop in June, July, August, September, right? We do know like our conception rates really tank at that time,
Because of the
and
heat, right?
not zero, but it doesn't look very good. About
Because
30%
because of the
sometimes.
heat.
Yeah, because we okay, now remember you are looking at something where we're doing an AI one time, one straw, once, right? When an animal has natural service and one straw has 40 million semen cells, sperm cells, right? When you do natural service, you have 4 billion cells. 4 billion cells.
So hold on.
Right?
So hold on. With that said, if I'm doing a goat that I really want to get that goat bred AI
Mm-hmm.
semen, so if I put 3 straws in that animal instead of one, I have a higher success rate.
You can. No, they add, so there comes a little border. 2 straws would probably be the max,
Okay.
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
then what happens is we go into a situation of the volume now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 2 straws would probably be the max, but then it costs you twice the amount of money, right? So it's
Well,
up to you if you want to pay the price.
yeah, it's just thirteen
So right,
thousand dollars a straw.
right. So on that though, we when you check the data, and I mean, you can check any cattle farm. You can check Surge Island that breeds over 4,000 cows a year. They tell me the same thing. I know this from way back when. during their cooler season and their breeding season, from average is 2 straws per cow, 1 to 2 straws per cow. Can you imagine? Do you know what the number of straws in the summertime is?
Half.
No, 6
Oh,
to 7 straws per breeding.
oh, in the summertime they increase the straws.
6. No. Okay, what I'm saying is, on average, it takes 1 to 2 straws
2
to get a
straws
cow pregnant during the
in the
cool
winter
time.
time. Yeah,
Right, cool
and
times.
in the summertime.
In the summer, 6 to 7 straws.
Wow. So then we could try the same practice in goats for the summertime.
Well, yeah. So we're really looking to cut our breeding season maybe by end of next month. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, there's always a few farmers who insist on it, and I'm like, I don't know if we should even bother, because then you're gonna say how we stink or our results are crappy, But so I mean, but there's so many factors to deal with it. There's so many factors to deal with it. It goes on and on and on. So
Okay, so let's talk about what the offsprings look like. Because now it's been 3 years since you've been consistently doing AI, beginning with the Canadian
yeah,
stock now to the US stock.
farm build and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I think we've done. Okay. Let me put it to you this way. Every time I go into a farm now that we've done AI before, like I said, so we have animals that we maybe close to a year plus now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or 2 years. I can point out the AI offspring.
Mm.
I can look and point out the AI offspring. I was by a farmer the other day, and he said to me, because he has quite a few babies, and he said to me, Gabby, come on, look on them. I said, all right. I said, come, because we finished doing AI by him, and he's like, come on, look at them. And I said, don't tell me who they are. I said, just let me look. So he says, okay. And then I was able to point out 4 out of the 5 girls that he had that were AI offspring. How?
They're Nubians, right?
No, those were boys.
Oh.
And when this was at this one, how I know too is the bone structure is very different. The boars, especially, they even the Nubians, the bone structure is very different. It's a lot bigger.
Mm-hmm.
The legs are much bigger. In girth, I'm talking in width,
Yeah.
right? It's much
Mm-hmm.
bigger. They have a more. I find they look a little more regal. They tend to
Mm-hmm.
stand a little differently,
Yeah.
right? And and I find quite a few of them are longer in their body.
And they got wider chests.
And yeah, they have super wide and wider chest and wider back ends.
Yeah.
Their conformation to me tends to be a little. You see, I don't want to get to, but their conformation tends to be a little bit more uniform
Mm-hmm.
in their whole length of their body. I'm not saying
Okay.
there's not local animals that look like that.
Yeah.
You asked me about the AI offspring,
Yeah.
right? Right.
Okay.
The
Well,
Nubian,
the
same thing.
Nubian.
The leg structure, really nice, really thick, and they look just sturdier. They look a lot sturdier. They have a lot more width to them, which I find is easy to spot.
No, well, we got one AI Nubian female, and everybody, you can just tell. Just look in the pack, and you can tell. You can see her. She's taller. She's thicker.
Thicker, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also the legs, and how the conformation. Again, I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying the conformation tends to be a little bit.
Yeah.
It's different. It looks a little different, and you can spot them. You can really spot them. Even in Nubians, I find you can spot them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm waiting to see. Like, for me, it's the milk production. Like, how do we improve? And is there any AI offspring that is in milk production right now? Do you know of?
Many.
And do you see a significant improvement?
Yep. Yes. I have some on my farm that are giving me they just kidded this year, 3 to
Mm-hmm.
4 liters on average.
A day?
Yes.
That's good. That's what I'm talking
And
about.
there's 3 big breeders I know of And another guy I know of who said the same thing. His milk production, he has to be milking out his Nubians now. That's that much milk they're giving. Even when he weans off now, he has to be careful how he's weaning off.
Wow. See?
And the reason being too is that the Nubians that come from the US are very heavy milking lines, right? We got semen from Berry Bliss or Blissberry. I keep calling them Berry Bliss. I don't know why. Blissberry, Lakeshore. Those are big dairy herds in the US, eh?
Yeah.
They're pretty classic dairy herds, right? So we got semen from those. So they tend to be more I don't think they are strong on the Roman nose, but they tend to be very, very good producers.
I don't
very
care
good
about
milk.
the Roman nose. I don't tell the last time somebody said they collect some money from the Roman nose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they could go to Denby and win with the Roman, but how much is Denby paying them?
That's what I say, but that's
Exactly.
okay.
You know what I mean? We need animals that are actually producing to move the sector forward.
Well, that goes okay. So as you mentioned, you were talking about the registry. We go back to that too, right? When you look at the American Dairy Goat Association, right? The looks are important too, right? The confirmation, they give classification indices for the confirmation. So that's
and
the confirmation traits.
Other attachments,
Right, confirmation traits. But then guess what else goes into the index? The composite index is the production traits.
Yeah.
Right? So those two, the confirmation traits and the production traits come together to give you a combined index.
Yeah.
Right? For your dairy goods. So they don't really the goat have to look good, of course. You don't want to knock meat walking down the road. But the fact is that their production traits are what's important. So for me, again, I was mentioning it to the persons who are doing the registry. Can we start looking towards that too? What is the purpose of the animal? For instance, for the Jersey animal, it could look as good as it looks, not the Jersey, sorry, Jamaica Hope. It could look as good as it looks. If it's not producing milk, it's not getting registered neither.
See? Yeah. There's got to be, the animal's got to serve a purpose. It has to live up to what it was meant to do. You know what I mean?
Oh, and on that too, besides confirmation, sorry, I should have mentioned that. For even in the cattle breeders, birth weight, weaning weight is important. Birth weight, weaning weight. At the age of weaning is important too. And if the animal doesn't satisfy the requirements, it's not registered either. So that's objective data that they use.
So that would definitely force people to have good records. Well,
you have to. You can't not have records.
They'll just make it up anyways. That's how Jamaica work.
Yeah.
They'll just tell you, like, yeah, man, them bought 9 pound, man, them bought 12 pound. What was his weaning weight? Virgin, like 52. Let's just put 52.
Well, you see, no matter what, though, Ray, you have to go back to the integrity of the person. And trust me, we have many farmers who are very honest and have a lot of integrity. So I don't believe in that. I believe in us going forward with a positive vibe in that I think it's going to be great. And let's just work together as a group and get it done.
No, for real, let's strongly
take our feelings and personality out of things and just get it done.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Just check our egos, just get it moving. And that's why tonight's talk is about the whole process and how we move the needle forward. I do not care what the animals look like. I do not care who's involved. All I care about is a precedent's been set. We get it done. Now let's normalize this process, get it standardized, and give the animals that are already here a level playing field with the registry. And now we have an industry. Once we get those things together, now we have a budding industry. Right now, we just have a sector. We just have a goat and sheep. Well, maybe the sheep industry may be bigger, but we have a goat sector. We don't have a goat industry. There's no numbers being reported. on a consistent basis for people to say, yes, there's an industry.
Yeah, but then Ray, do people want to report the little curry goat that they sell and stuff like that? If they probably reported the figures, the industry would look a lot, or sector would look a lot bigger. But
Of
nobody
course,
wants to do that because then
nobody
you
wants
might
to
be
do it. I
afraid
don't know
that
what yeah, I don't know what
the
the
tax man will
drawback
come.
is. I know a little man in that St. Mary have about a whole like maybe 150 native goat. And he's always selling curry goat, curry ram. And I'm sure he's done a really good job over the year collecting money, good money for these curry rams. So his data needs to be forwarded somewhere as goat meat production. He may not be supplying restaurants, but he's supplying a lot of people, whether it's dead yard, parties, all that stuff with goat meat, local goat meat.
And then when the tax man comes, what? Or if the tax man comes, then what?
That's a for him problem.
No, but that's why people don't want to report.
No, but you see, people always think about the tax man like the tax man is the enemy. There is in Jamaica, there is a threshold for you to start paying taxes. There is a threshold of maybe 30 million or whatever it is, I don't know what it was, in revenue for you to start paying the government taxes. And enough of these small farmers not even coming close to that threshold.
I don't know.
And if they register them business, has been talking about for 2 years, then they wouldn't have that problem. But tonight is not about that. We'll talk about that another time. But yeah, I implore every farmer, whether you can register yourself as a business, just make sure you register so you're in the system. So when time comes for you to get help, you can get help. You can't ask for help if you're not in the system. You cannot be participating in the system, but when things go sideways, you're asking the system for help. And that's how it works. Participate in the system, then you can ask the system for help. Well, that's a whole different conversation. But thank you again, Doc. And we will definitely keep pushing and keep pressuring this conversation because it has to happen. And I know you got the ears of some people, so please let them know that, you know, the regular farmers out here want to see it. They want to see the registry. They want this thing to move forward and have a standard that we can look at and say, yes, if Mackie is selling me a full blood boar buck, the Jamaica registry will say, yes, Mackie goat is registered. Mackie goat is a
Yes,
full
I
blood.
agree, and I think it's gonna happen. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I think it's gonna happen. But like I said, we have to trust the process too, that it has happened here in Jamaica. As a matter of fact, I dare say to tell you all that I think if you go back in the history and what is it called? History books,
Mhm.
right? That Jamaica is probably one of the earliest herd registries sometimes, eh? With Mr. with Dr.
Yep.
Lecky and the
Yeah.
four breed. So we did it before. It's not that hard,
Right.
and it just requires some kind of
It just take
just following.
motivation.
Just
Just
follow
take
what you do now. What's the big deal? Why we feel goat different to cattle to get different to sheep?
yeah.
It's not.
It's not. We just need to do it.
Right?
All right, Doc. Thank you, and we'll
Bye.
talk again soon.
Cool. Bye bye.
Okay, right. All right, folks. I'm gonna call it a night, and thank you guys for participating. Thank you for a robust discussion, and I'm hoping that I brought some thought process to this. Like, I hope I instigate people's mind in thinking that things can move forward in a positive way by just getting this registry done, leveling the playing field for everybody else, and everybody can have a strong belief that or confidence in when they buy an animal, they know where to go and say, "Oh, yes, this is correct. This is how it is. Maki animal is registered as a full blood. all archer animal is registered as a full blood. Whoever it is, purebred animal registered, and even the imported animal, yes, the animal is registered, and with the extra paper, whatever it is, that we feel confident that we're buying quality with value, because animals are not cheap. So thank you all for being here. Bless up Mackie for coming through. Darren, TJ, everybody else, thank you all for coming through. Natty, respect. And we'll see you guys next week. And hopefully we can get somebody from the group that imported the animals, TJ, to come in and talk about the process. Talk about what went into it, the stumbling blocks, the challenges, that they faced, and we can have a better understanding of what it takes to get animals from the US to Jamaica. And let's get it done. All right. Respect, and see you guys next week. I'm out.